If you can handle more than 100 jolts of 100% pure terror, then you might be ready for Terror in the Aisles, a totally unique, non-stop roller coaster ride.
Welcome, everybody, to Terror in the Aisles. I guess it's been a while, John.
Yes, it has.
I think you said the last time we put an episode out was on my birthday, which was December 16th.
Yeah, so we were planning on doing about 2 weeks ago,
Yep.
but I had to cancel on you, and now here we are on the verge of coming up on Valentine's Day this month. So we got to talk about some Valentine's movies.
Yeah, so I think today we're going to watch a couple trailers that take place during Valentine's Day.
Yeah.
I think we're going to, you said you wanted to watch the Godzilla trailer today, too?
Yeah, Godzilla vs. Kong coming out here soon.
So, I don't know, let's get to it. I'd say the first thing we should do, just to make it a Valentine's special, we'll watch the original trailer to My Bloody Valentine that came out in 1981.
It's a bad time, this time of year.
How many times is he gonna tell this story?
Oh, let him tell it. I love fairy tales.
This ain't no fairy tale, little girl. If you don't take it seriously, you're a fool!
The first Valentine's dance in 20 years has to be something special.
Look, Landers, you gotta get a lot of exercise if you're gonna grapple with Gretchen.
Oh, yeah? Well, I got a Valentine for her that she's never gonna forget. Right to the heart, huh?
In this town on Valentine's Day, everybody loses their heart.
Roses are red, violets are blue. One is dead, and so are you.
It can't be happening again.
No!
It can't be happening again.
What's going on over in Valentine Bluffs? It looks like Harry Warden's back in town.
It happened once. It happened twice. Cancel the dance or it'll happen twice.
In the town of Valentine Bluffs, there are many ways to die. Take your pick. My Bloody Valentine.
This ain't no fairy tale movie, John.
I love this movie. I always have. I have a bad DVD copy. Of course, it's now on Blu-ray. I need to upgrade big time.
It is a beautiful film now that I was watching it last night. I watched half of it last night before I fell asleep. But like the town of Valentine Bluffs is like so cool. It's like everything's red and bright. Some really cool kills. I like the story a lot. And the people, it makes you feel like it's a real town.
Yeah, it's like I said, it's always been a favorite of mine, and it has a little twist to it near the end and everything. Of course, it was remade too, and the remake was even really good.
Yeah, we were talking. We had to go get some batteries real quick for our podcast equipment, for our Zoom equipment, and I told you that I think it's probably I watched it in theaters more than any movie I've ever seen.
Yeah,
I think I watched it 4 or 5 times, and because it was the 3D was so good.
Yeah.
I remember the very first scene of the new one.
Yeah.
He throws his pickaxe, and every time I ducked my head, it was going to hit me.
Yeah, that one came out in 2009, and I was just saying to you that I couldn't believe it's been that long. But around that time, there was a lot of 3D movies. It was like the new thing to put your movies out in 3D, and when I had seen that, I usually don't like a whole lot of 3D movies, but I went to see it, and I really enjoyed that one.
I did too. I really like Piranha 3D as well.
Yeah, that one's a good one too.
Those two were I thought 3D might come back, and it kind of did there for a while, and then it just, people were like, okay.
But if you've seen the original one and you know the twist, they actually changed that up too a little bit.
They did.
In the remake, so it's kind of fresh, a little bit, changed it up a lot in the end of that one too. So, you're thinking, well, it's the same story, but it wasn't. It added a little bit to it and changed it up a little bit, so. But yeah, the original one's always been a favorite of mine. I always wondered why they didn't make a sequel to this movie.
Yeah. Yeah, I wish they would. If you were telling me, because I haven't seen this movie in so long that I kind of forgot the ending. Like, I remember the cool kills in the town.
Yeah.
And like I said, I watched half of it, but I didn't get to the final. I didn't get to the third act last night.
Yeah, where the mines collapse and the killer is still there on the other side and they can't get to him. There's a little hole there, and he's like, "I'll be back," and he starts laughing and saying, "Harry will be back," and you know, he's just really crazy. And if you know the movie, you know what I'm talking about. About Harry Warden was the original killer that they talked about 20 years before that.
Now, he's a cool villain because I mean he's scary. Though I do like the opening scene, like the girl's trying to be like sexual with the miner, and she's like rubbing on his breathing apparatus. I'm like, it's like the breathing apparatus is supposed to be like his penis.
And this is right when all the slasher movies started going crazy in the 80s. In 81, I think Halloween 2 came out that year, wasn't it?
And you know what else came out in 1981?
What?
Scotty Slasher.
No, Lord.
Came right out.
Came right out. But, you know, after that, every holiday was made, it seems like. You know, you had Halloween, and then, of course, My Bloody Valentine, and then there was Christmas horror movies and stuff. And it just through the 80s, that first part of the 80s, up to 85, 86, there were so many of them. A lot of them bad, but this was one that I really enjoyed, and I called it classic. So
yeah, and I always love the themed horror films. One day I'm going to make a holiday-themed
there you go.
Film. Did you know the same time that My Bloody Valentine was being filmed, there was another movie being filmed under the title Be My Valentine?
No, I never heard of that one.
So, well, they changed it because they found out that My Bloody Valentine was being made. And so it actually became X-Ray, and also known as Hospital Massacre.
Yeah. That's one that did pop up when I told you I was looking up Valentine related movies or whatever. That one was one of them popped up, and I said Hospital Massacre. I've always heard of it, but never saw it. And I'm like, was it taking place on Valentine's Day or something?
It did. It's kind of got a similar story, sort of. I like this movie a lot. Some people don't like it. It stars the Playboy playmate Barbie Benton, I believe is her name. So she's nude a lot for like no reason, but it's cool because she's very attractive. So it doesn't make sense, but in the 80s it sort of makes sense. But she's trapped in this hospital. This hospital won't let her leave.
Okay.
They keep examining her, and they think that she's crazy. But you're like, well, this woman doesn't seem crazy. So something's up in this weird hospital.
I have seen a trailer to that, I believe, but I haven't saw the actual movie.
And I couldn't find a good trailer for it now. Like, people have like manipulated it, and there's like
and I've heard of
music.
X-Ray too, like you said. I've seen stuff that said X-Ray and Hospital Massacre.
Yeah, I know there's a trailer. It's got to be on Scream Factory somewhere. I saw a clip that they put up, but
didn't they just put that out as X-Ray though this time?
Yes, I think
I've
they
seen
put
old
it out.
VHS copies of Hospital Massacre.
Right.
So I didn't know that was the same movie for a long time.
Two different covers, both cool covers too. But I enjoy this movie, and I think people should watch it. Sometimes it's a little tedious, but it's got some cool kills when they happen, and it's got a lot of nudity. But the thing that most people don't like is it doesn't really make sense in the real world, I guess.
Okay.
Like, you wouldn't go to though people had this fear in the 80s. But if you went to a hospital, they wouldn't just keep you.
Yeah.
They wouldn't just let you, you're not stuck in this hospital, and they're like, you can't go, I'm sorry. So that's what kind of happens to this lady. But it's a Valentine story the whole time. But yeah, really cool.
And that came out around the same time, huh?
Certain things say 1981, certain places say 1982. But yeah, right around the same time they changed their name. It was supposed to be My Valentine. That was like their working title, and they changed it.
Other horror movies, Valentine related, is just Valentine from 2001.
Yeah.
We was just talking about it. It got a Scream Factory release, I believe it was.
It did, and I bet they did really well with it because it looked like it sold a lot.
I've seen it, but it's been a very long time ago. I've probably only seen it one time, so I don't really recall anything much about that, but that was like the second one that popped up when I was looking up these movies. But it seems to be very liked from people online I've seen. So
I think it is very liked. But here's the thing: when I watched it, I remember back in the day that it's got a really cool mask.
Yeah,
it's got an all-star cast. All those people went on to be like movie star, like huge movie stars. At the time, they were rising stars, like maybe like B-level stars.
Kind of like I Know What You Did Last Summer. Kind of, they was about that same time.
It's about the same. Like those people went on to become like huge stars. But the thing that I do remember is the kills are like real slow.
Oh yeah.
Like it's like almost like the killer doesn't want to kill these people for some reason. It's like, like it's a real cool mask, but it's not like Michael Myers or like Jason. A lot of times they're killing these people. They're pissed off. They're like This, it just seems like they're just lackadaisical in their kills. And I need to go back and watch it. This has been 2000. When did it come out? 2001?
2001, yeah. It's been a while. It's for 20 years now, so.
But I do have the DVD, and I do remember still enjoying it, but thinking, like, if they'd have did a couple extra things, this could be like a slasher, like Halloween.
The surprise it hasn't been remade yet after 20 years now. Who knows?
That's true.
Lubbers Lane is another one from 99. That came out, and I was just telling you about that. I got a bunch of VHS off a buddy of mine, and probably almost 2 years ago, and that was one of them. And I didn't even know it was a Valentine horror film until just recently when I looked these up, and I haven't even got to check it out yet. So I'm definitely gonna have to watch this one soon. But I heard from Jason at Spookables that it's a really cool movie, and it's better than what he thought it was when he watched it. So
really, yeah, I've never seen it.
You've never seen that one?
Yeah, I've never seen it. I feel like does the cover have like a heart on it or something?
Well, it's kind of got like a car in the distance, and it's got a hand with a hook, like a hook thing. It's a Valentine's horror film, so that's one that I've had for a while and never checked out. And I don't know if it's been on DVD or anything, but I have the VHS copy. And I have to check that one out because I was like, man, that's funny. I've had this movie this long. And that's what happens when you collect and you buy all big bulks of stuff, and it takes a while sometimes to get around and watch them. But that's another one if anybody out there loves that movie.
Yeah, let us know in the comments if you're watching us on YouTube. Well, I mean, let us know in a comment if you're watching on iTunes or Podbean. We might see it. So I think to end our Valentine's talk, I think we should watch My Bloody Valentine 3D trailer. Yeah,
from 2009. Yeah, let's check that one out.
Exactly what did you see?
Something was following us.
This is the most horrific event this town has ever seen. Authorities are calling this the Valentine's Day Massacre.
In the town of Harmony, something unexplainable
Hello?
is happening.
Come here, you better check this out.
What is it?
This January, prepare to witness.
What do you want?
The most frightening 3D motion picture event to tear through the screen. Valentine 3D. Nothing says date movie like a 3D ride to hell.
Man, that's been that long since this movie came out, but it's been a while since I've seen it, and the trailer just awesome.
Yeah, it brings back like a lot of the cool 3D effects that they did pull off.
And of course, they added a lot to it. There's parts with the hotel and the chicks in the hotel and the supermarket that wasn't like in the original one where he's getting chased. They're chasing him through there.
I remember when it opens up, it's just like a big bloodbath. And Tom Atkins, of course, is in it.
Yeah,
so that was cool.
I thought he was in that.
Yeah. He's the one trying to track down the killer. And then Jamie King's in it, and she was also in Silent Night, the remake. So she's been in 2 remakes of horror, like holiday horrors.
And what's that guy from Supernatural?
Yeah,
he's in it.
Is it Jensen Ackles? Is that how you say his name? It's something like that. But yeah, he's.
I think that might have been right before that started, or was that going on around that time? I'm not sure.
Supernatural's been going on for so long.
It might have just got started, or right before it got started.
I think Supernatural's been around for like 15 years.
Yeah, so this is kind of like what we was talking about with Valentine. These people went on and started, it was like the beginning of their career and stuff. So, which a lot of horror movies do that for a lot of people.
They brought in one horror vet and then had a bunch of young cast. And then it also had Kerr Smith, this is like in the right after, I guess, Dawson's Creek.
Yeah.
So, and in Final Destination, he was also in Final Destination. But so it had a cool cast.
I don't hear nobody talk bad about this remake. A lot of people will talk bad around remakes and stuff, but this is one that you didn't really hear a whole lot of negativity, going on with it.
Yeah,
but it was one
that
could be polished up, and it was, and it's a really good film to check out. Of course, they changed it too from, like I said, the original one. So they did a little bit of changing the end there, so you wouldn't know about the killer. So I thought that was really cool too at the end of it.
Yeah, because they do a total different twist on the killer.
Yeah, it was really well done. And a lot of people, when they talk about the good remakes, I don't never hear nobody really talk about it. So that's one of them. I went to the theater and saw it, like you said, the 3D stuff.
Yeah.
Was crazy, and it flew out at the screen. It's just made, you said you ducked.
Every time. I don't think there was a time I went and I knew it was coming.
Yeah.
This movie actually made its box. Its budget was $14 million. Its box office was over $100 million. Why would you not make a sequel to this?
I don't know. It's just like
the Friday the 13th remake.
2009. That came out in 2009, and no one's ever remade it, which they've had a lot of issues, they say, with a lot of things doing that. But yeah, why didn't they make another one? They could have made 2 or 3 of these. Yeah. It would have been something else to see.
If you make 5 times or whatever your budget, why would you not keep making
it seemed like some of them that should be sequels and have sequels or whatever, they don't do it, and then some other movie that don't really even come to the theater will have 10 movies. I don't get it.
Yeah, it's really weird. I don't know.
That's like, that one did come, I think, came to some theaters, I Spit on Your Grave, and then they started making sequels from that remake.
Yeah.
But I've never seen them, but
I haven't seen the sequels.
Yeah, but and I hear they're not really the greatest, but something like this, yeah, it would. I always wanted a part 2 to the original. Really, I would have loved sometime in the 80s with all the sequels. Some of the other horror movies. Why didn't they ever make a few sequels to it? It'd been great.
We should do a whole show on that.
Yeah,
because of The Burning.
Yeah,
another really good one.
That would have been great too. Just one-hit wonders back then, I guess. Or later on turned into cult movies.
Yeah, Madman.
Yeah.
What was the other slasher? Just Before Dawn. There's a lot of cool ones. They could have just kept making sequels, and it's like, what happened? Like, they made some money on these. I don't know.
The Forest.
The
stuff
Forest.
like that.
Yep.
Yeah. I don't know.
Or if we should get the rights and
the
make
80s,
a Forest too.
The 80s was mainly Freddy and Jason and stuff like that, I guess. Mainly, they put sequels out every year. But some of these movies, and of course Halloween too later on. But yeah, this would have been great. I always wanted a sequel when I was younger. I was like, why ain't they making He ran away. He said it would be back. Why not?
He's never back. He's
never came back. And then all of a sudden, I seen a trailer to this, and at least we got a remake. And I was like, hell yes! I went to theaters to see that one for sure.
I don't know why this popped in my head, but did you remember on the original Silent Night, Deadly Night, the killer Santa at the beginning?
Mm-hmm.
He's never caught.
Yeah.
That guy's running around too.
Yeah, he's running.
Him and Harry Warden are out just murdering people.
Yeah, well, in the original one, to give it away, I guess you could say, or if you don't want to give it away, it's really Harry's. They talk about him in like 20 years before then. They talk about him and showing stuff, but he's not really the killer,
right.
Like we said. But they even make an action figure of him, Harry Warden, and he's, like I said, that it's not really the real killer of it, but. It's still a good backstory to it and everything.
I guess he's the real killer in the when does it take place? Wait a second.
Yeah,
would have been 1960s.
Yeah,
because it's like 20 years later, and this is like 81. It probably was filmed in 80.
It's kind of comical because they don't want them to throw a party because of that stuff happening or whatever, and nobody gets to celebrate Valentine's Day really or nothing, and so these kids, of course, are going to rebel and do their own thing up near the mines. And I always thought that was creepy, too, the mines.
The mines are creepy.
That was something different to every other slasher movie that was coming out around that time.
You ever been inside of a mine?
Yeah. I went to the Beckley exhibit one time when I was a kid. We went down and of course, this is a little, because it's cold and you're going underground, too. So I think they closed that down. But there's one in Pocahontas, too, where they're getting ready to open up to where you can do that. And I think that was like 6th, 7th grade when we did. And that's what I thought about when going down through there. Being a movie fan, you're thinking about Harry Warden and My Bloody Valentine and going down through there, riding a little trolley thing down through the mine. So
yeah, I had to get into a mine for. Do you remember that thing? I don't know if I've ever told you this, but I did a thing for Discovery ID. It was the serial killer Roger Coleman.
Oh yeah.
I was location scouting for people overseas filming it. They were from UK, and so I had to dress up in full miner gear.
Oh yeah.
And walk into the mine.
That's cool.
So yeah, you'll see. It's just my backside.
Oh yeah.
But everything of me, I'm like a stand-in.
Did you have the pick and you carried the pick? You didn't do that, did you?
I had. God, I don't remember if I had a pick. I had something in my hand, but I don't think it was a pick.
Yeah.
It was
probably just a shovel or something.
I think it was a lot. No, the light was on top of my helmet, so I don't remember.
Yeah, that would be cool.
This has been years back, but yeah.
The mask thing that goes over his face is just cool too in that.
But I didn't have to wear the mask. I just wore the actual, it was I think it was a yellow helmet with a light. Mm-hmm. But I had to put the whole gear on to go
cool.
in. I didn't have to go in far.
We need a sequel, people.
Yeah.
That would be awesome. To make a sequel to it don't really have to be the original, just to the remake or something.
There you go.
I mean, they could blood that one up, buddy. It was a bloody mess in that one too, with the 3D and stuff. So,
but yeah, imagine 2022. You go to a theater on Valentine's Day, and it's My Bloody Valentine 3D 2, and everybody's fucking excited about it. Great.
Some movies you don't ever get.
Oh, Todd Farmer wrote the screenplay. Todd Farmer, he directed Jason X.
Yeah.
So I guess let's get Todd Farmer on the phone.
There you
say
go.
We want My Bloody Valentine 3D Part 2.
Yeah.
Or in Jason X Part 2. I'll take a Jason X Part 2.
I'll take any Jason movie right now.
Somebody was saying they hated Jason X online. I almost wanted to comment, but people have their own opinions. But they were saying that Jason X is the worst in the franchise.
I always went with Jason Goes to Hell for some reason. I guess because you didn't get to see him. At least you get to see him in Jason X.
Yeah.
And everybody else got to go to space except for Michael. I don't think he ever went to space.
Yeah.
But
did Freddy go to space?
No. Well, maybe Freddy didn't either.
I don't know.
We know the Leprechaun
he's
did.
Everywhere. The Leprechaun
and
did.
You got Hellraiser, I think, went to
Did,
space.
yeah.
So when it first came out, it didn't really. I didn't go to the theater to see that one, but it was better than Jason Goes to Hell, in my opinion.
Which one?
Jason X.
Yeah.
It's just a good time, and it's
fun.
Yeah, it's just fun, just like My Bloody Valentine 3D here.
But I don't think if Jason Goes to Hell, if it didn't come first, Jason X might have not worked.
Yeah,
because it's pretty far away from the mythology, because everything is pretty until around Part 8. So everything until around 8 gets so silly, and then I guess 7 if you want to say telekinesis.
So we need to look up on our calendars and find out the next Friday the 13th.
Yeah,
and we need to do a show on just nothing but Friday the 13th, since we're talking about that.
Yeah, I know, because we could go off on a tangent.
And we should have done one on Halloween too. Really, that would have been great. So maybe future shows we're going to have to do that, because there's so much to talk about and so many movies. We could definitely talk for an hour on all them. All right, it's about that time. Godzilla vs. Kong 2021, which is supposed to come out this past year due to everything. It's not, but it's the trailer just premiered last week, and it looks pretty awesome. Scott, have you watched it yet?
I've not, so this is my first time.
We got to check it out. Let's watch Godzilla vs. Kong. Okay, this looks freaking awesome.
It really does. And I'm sorry that we didn't play the trailer for you, but there's
there is
a rap
some
song in it.
Rap song in it when they start fighting. So
it'll get flagged by YouTube, so I just didn't want to try to put that in there.
But man, like you said, the city with the neon lights.
Yeah.
And they're the last two apparently, because Godzilla in the last movie was more like the hero, and now he's coming back, and Kong seems like to be the good guy to protect people or whatever, but they're the last two to fight from the war that it says on here, and it shows King Kong fighting other ancient dinosaurs and stuff. But that's
kaiju, the kaiju, is that what they call it?
And but that's just crazy. The effects of this is going to be great, I believe.
Oh, I think so. And they got a good cast, as I saw the girl from Stranger Things is in it. One of the guys from True Blood's in it. Skarsgård. It
looks really cool. It says fall, so I thought it was going to be a summer film, but they're going to go ahead and put it out. It will be in theaters, and I think HBO Max is putting this stuff out too. But I got to go to a theater and see this, hopefully.
Yeah, it looks so cool, and it's Millie Bobby Brown. I should call her the Stranger Things girl, but because she's been in all kinds of things already. I mean, she's already a star.
Yeah,
but I guess right now people still know her as the Stranger Things.
And
girl.
I hear people talking about how Kong. How did he get so big? Well, Kong Skull Island. I talked about it in my last video where I talk about this. He was freaking huge. He was bigger than any other Kong movie I've ever seen. So I don't see. I mean, I figured he was going to be the same size as Godzilla from that, you know. So they was hyping that up when they made that movie a few years ago. I went to theater and saw that one. That was awesome too to see, and the Godzilla films. But this one, I mean, the original one, of course, way back in the day, King Kong versus Godzilla. They changed the title around, Godzilla versus Kong, and there's so many other movies that can spawn off of this too if they keep doing this. Of course, it's going to make some damn money, so they're going to do more Godzilla films or more Kong movies too.
Or I guess they can make other kaiju movies, right?
Yeah.
Mothra, you have a bunch of them. There's a bunch of these I haven't watched.
Yeah.
Because they made so many, because they're actually like this versus this, and there's no Kong or Godzilla. It's all like different monsters. Especially
with the older Godzilla films. There's so many of them. And, of course, we haven't made that many over here. Most of that was made, in Japan and stuff. But I own them all, and I went through and watched here and there, watched some of them. Of course, the new stuff we can do now for these movies, they look so realistic.
I've not even scratched the surface, really, of these. Like, I've watched a few of, I've watched the original King Kong, which is great.
Yeah.
I've watched, the King Kong from the 76, was it 70?
Yeah, 76 remake.
And then they did another King Kong in the 80s called Kong Lives or something.
Yeah, Kong Lives. That was actually a sequel to that one.
Okay.
And then Peter Jackson redid it, a few years ago.
That's right.
And it was the same thing, basically. They just, from the other movies, except for King Kong Lives. But, and then Kong Skull Island changed it up completely different because they wanted to go into this movie. So that's what I heard when that came out. And that one, you didn't wait no time. You saw him pretty quick.
Yeah.
And it looks like the same Kong in this.
The same Kong.
And that was badass movie. They had a lot of action. And this one looks like it's going to be some really crazy action going on in this one, too.
So the new Godzilla, I've not seen. Is it awesome?
Yeah.
Like you said, he's the bad guy in that one?
Well, he's not really. He's more like he's the savior. He's the savior. And he's like helping the people out, but this one, it seems like they,
so he was good,
because they even made a remark in this saying, he's like pissed off and he's doing all this and that. Why is he doing this or whatever?
Yeah.
So he's just mainly wanting to fight Kong, I guess. We'll have to wait and see, but it does look pretty awesome.
Maybe there's a reason because they have like Mecha Godzilla and all that. Like maybe somebody did something to like.
Well, they're talking about ancient war too, so who knows what happened. Of course. It'll probably be almost a 3-hour event, I'd say. Last one was the Kong movies were a little over 2 hours, I believe, and so was the Godzilla.
Yeah. Now I've seen Skull Island, and it flew by. Like it did, I guess it was long, but it just it had a lot of action in it.
Yeah, and that was the Kong movie we needed, and this is the Godzilla versus Kong movie we need now.
Was he considered a bad guy in Kong Skull Island, or more of just like?
Well, he just wanted to be left alone.
Right?
People started, coming over on his turf, I say, and pissed him off. I mean, he wasn't hurting nobody or nothing. Okay. But and now in this one, in the trailer, they're got him on this big ship, and they've got him chained down, and then looks like this little girl is a friend to him, and. Maybe he's got a little bit of a good heart in him, and until Godzilla decides to come out of the water and fight.
Yeah, I always found it interesting because they do flip around if they're a good guy or bad guy a lot. Both Godzilla and King Kong have both been villains and heroes. So it's kind of interesting.
And of course, the original one and the remake that they had, he just was after the woman more than anything.
That's true.
So, but now they're actually getting it to where he can fight, other monsters and stuff, which is really cool. So,
but I still think like if I saw that original King Kong, like when did the original King Kong was it? I think
it's in the 30s.
30s?
Yeah.
Like if I'd saw that 1930s, I would have probably just shit myself.
Yeah. Well, back then they said that was
like freaky,
just something crazy.
Yeah.
It was just a whole nother world on the screen, and people just fell in love because right at the beginning of, actual talkies, they called it back then, because they had silent films right before that. Just like, that was around the same time Dracula and Frankenstein and all that stuff started coming out. So, but I've known some people to hold the original King Kong as their favorite movie of all time. I mean, it's you got to think of all the stop motion and stuff like they did back then. Just looked so realistic to them. And now, almost 100 years later, we're having Kong still, and now look how badass it is.
Yeah. Which he looked cool, and it was 1933 when the original King Kong came out. But man, like I think it's really good, and if you put that up against a lot of the King Kong movies, it's still better.
Yeah.
Like I think Peter Jackson did a really good job with the remake, but it was, to me, it was almost identical, but just now, new in color, new production.
They just made it longer too,
and so I think the original King Kong blows that remake out of the water. I mean, it's just more memorable to me.
Yeah, and of course he. I mean, they added a little bit to it. Of course, they made it a lot longer.
Yeah.
But I enjoyed it. A lot of people didn't like that one because it took so long to see him.
True.
I think it was almost an hour into the movie before you seen him, and that movie was probably knocking on 3 hours there. Now, the 76 one had Jeff Bridges and Jessica Lange in it. That one, it was just basically straight-up remake from the original. And for the 70s, it was pretty decent for that. I mean, that's still a good movie. I love both of them.
It was entertaining.
But then it took so long before we make another one, and now it's like every year or two we're going to maybe have another Kong movie. Of course, that King Kong Lives, and that one's horrible. That one had Lyndall Hamilton in it, and it's just, it's off the wall. It's really not the greatest, but it is an actual sequel to this one.
What happens? Now I want to go back and watch it. I know I've seen it, but man, I don't really remember.
Yeah, because after Kong falls off the
Empire State Building.
Yeah, after he falls off the building there, he's supposed to die. Well, they're showing the way they kept him alive or whatever. He didn't die or whatever, and that's why it's called King Kong Lives. But I have that one on VHS, and it's not the greatest.
I just wanted to look it up real quick because it's like I said, I know I've probably seen it, but still made. So it had a budget of $18 million. That's a lot. Back in what was it, 85 or 86?
85, 86.
86. But it made $48.9 million.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess you have to. It's a huge friggin'.
I guess it just didn't seem like the effects and stuff was there, but it was the 80s, so. But, it's one that you can watch every so often. It's not something you want to watch every year or whatever.
Yeah.
But they did try to go off that remake there, so. And now they're going off of Kong and the other Godzilla films that's came out in the recent years. I hear a lot of stuff where we take their characters from overseas, that invented Godzilla and all that stuff, and they don't seem to like our version of Kong. I mean, Godzilla is what I mean. Our version of Godzilla, because he looks so much different than the classic one. But you couldn't do the classic look. But I do like the classic look too in some of the older movies.
I think he looks kind of like the classic look in this new one. I mean, he's got the back.
Yeah, he definitely has to be better than the one they made in the late 90s.
Yeah.
That one looked more like a giant raptor or something to me. So
I understand if they were pissed about that movie. I think everybody was upset about that one.
Yeah, so they come out and started bringing more and more of their movies back out. And then it took a while, but now technology and stuff and the way they can do movies and stuff, it's so much better now. So
didn't the Japanese then get the rights back to Godzilla and then kill the 98 Godzilla in a movie or something like that?
They might have. Like I said, there's so many of them, I can't think of them right away.
I thought I'd heard that.
They had Godzilla 2000, and that came out at the theater over here, and people thought that it was a direct sequel to that one, which it really wasn't, and that confused a lot of people. And it was so much different, and but I mean, we tried, but this now in the last few years, these new Godzilla films, they're so much better now, and it's just going to keep getting better, I believe. The more money it makes, they're going to keep putting these out, I believe.
How many do you think they've made? So if you say Godzilla, King Kong, and all the monsters surround them, like Mothra and all that, do you think they've made like 60 films?
Yeah, probably close to it, yeah.
Oh, Okay.
Yeah, probably so. Which I know, the Godzillas, there's 32 or 33.
Just a Godzilla.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's crazy. Yeah, and I got all of them on DVD except for the newest one I got on Blu-ray. I think there's 33 now.
Okay.
But Kong, there's not really that many Kong movies. There was another one, which they had some like spin-offs, I guess. They had Son of Kong.
Yeah.
And that came out in the 60s and stuff. And there was another Kong, I can't remember, Konga and stuff like that was kind of related to it or whatever. But in recent years, until Peter Jackson brought him back, he...
The Mighty Peking Man?
Yeah.
That was another kind of rip-off, right?
So, yeah, the Kong is back, and he's badass, buddy, and so is Godzilla, so I can't wait to see this. Okay, new to Blu-ray coming here soon, Arrow Video. He Came from the Swamp. Have you heard of this one?
I've not, so I'm excited.
I keep seeing a lot of posts and stuff on Facebook and Instagram and everything, and I have held off watching the trailer until now so we can watch it together and discuss it and see if we might add it to our collection.
All right, let's check it out.
X. Persons under 18 will not be admitted.
A jellyfish that stalks the Florida Everglades, using its deadly tentacles to prey on unsuspecting victims.
Some people call them jellyfish. Never seen them before.
Witness overwhelming terror in Sting of Death.
Serpents that slither in the undergrowth, possessed by a rotting corpse, swearing vengeance on all those who disturb his grave.
We must destroy the physical remains of his body.
It's only a matter of time until Tartu will destroy us all.
The death curse of Tartu.
He was once a devout servant of God, and a taste of hedonism sent him spiraling into a world of drugs and danger.
What do you know about God? What do you know about me?
Take an acid-laced odyssey through America and the psychedelic priest.
And now, without further delay, I'm proud to present the real, live, own Aquaman, Karen!
Deadly sharks once saved his life. Now he lives and kills as one of them.
You don't have to be afraid of any shark when you're with me.
Plunge into an underwater world of terror and suspense as you face the jaws of death. A tale of shocking violence and incredible excitement.
My wife's been kidnapped and are being held up at Whiskey Mountain.
How could a place so beautiful be so weird?
It's just a legend. Just local bullshit, that's all.
You may think twice before taking your loved one to Whiskey Mountain. Once you go up, you might never come down.
All this and more in
the William Griffey Collection.
It's just local bullshit, that's all.
Crazy. So
okay, so this is a box set.
Yeah.
I was thinking it was just a movie, but that explains when I looked it online. It's like $50 or $60. That explains why, because there's a bunch of movies together here.
Yeah, we were very confused. It's the William Griffey collection.
Yeah,
said.
But then it goes into saying He Came from the Swamp too on there.
Yeah.
The first trailer is on there. What's that one called again?
Sting of Death.
That one shows a guy coming from the swamp and everything. So I'm thinking, okay, this is it. And then it changes and has all these different titles.
And there's Death Curse of Tartu.
Yeah.
And then there's Psychedelic Priest.
That one looked wild.
Jaws of Death.
And I've heard of that one.
Is it also known as Mako Jaws of Death?
It might be.
And then Whiskey Mountain.
Whiskey Mountain with the local bullshit stuff.
That's just, what do you say again? It's so funny. It's
Lord.
about bullshit. What do you say about the bullshit?
It's just a bunch of local bullshit.
Local bullshit.
Yeah, local bullshit.
I'm going to start using that.
Yeah.
And then it said something about the At the very end, it looked like it was going to be the trailer for He Came from the Swamp.
Yeah.
But then it's like missing reel.
Yeah, and then it pops
and then
up
it shows
and
the
says
collection.
that.
So
Yeah.
I don't know.
I don't know, but like I said, that explains why when I looked it up, it was like $50 on Amazon. Because there's a bunch of movies. It's basically a box set that I didn't know. But it looks pretty cool. I love some of these 70s movies like that. They're comical to watch.
And all of them use like real animals. Like, so somehow they've like...
That one had an alligator biting this dude's hand. And you could just see the cheesy blood coming out of it. And then that snake like biting the guy's face.
Yeah. It was like a shark who was biting like a girl's leg, I think.
Yeah, there's just... So that's funny. I didn't know that until we watched this trailer. It's coming out on Arrow Video, though. And I think you can pre-order now. But like I said, I think it was like $47 or right at $50, close to $60. I don't know exactly the price on it. Mm-hmm. But that explains it now because all the movies together in a box set.
That looks cool. And they look like they really like fixed, because I'm sure some of those movies were like all over the place with their like lighting structures and stuff, but it looks good. It looks like they cleaned it up. And
I like how Arrow does that on their releases. They clean up these 70s films and they're putting them out when no one else wants to put them out, and they're just... I've never heard of none of them except for the Jaws of Death.
Yeah, that's the only one I've... Whiskey Mountain sounds so fun, though.
Yeah, that one, a bunch of local bullshit.
I think you should just check that trailer out. If you type in, there's actually two different ones. One's actually longer. Mm-hmm. We watched the 2-minute and 46-second version of He Came from the Swamp, but you should definitely go check that out on YouTube. It was really funny, and it looks really cool. All those look really fun.
Yeah, so if you're looking for any of them movies, you might as well buy this box set and check out the Psychedelic Priest. That one.
That one looks funny.
Oh, my God.
Well, one thing I wanted to talk about is the YouTubers that you've been watching lately. The one that I've been watching, and I've been like watching the shit out of these people, is Found Footage Fest. So they have a bunch of different shows. Their main show is VCR Party Live, and it's a guy named Nick and Joe, and they do this like all over the country, but where the pandemic, they just do like a live show right now.
Oh, okay.
But they find these old clips from like these instructional like tapes from like the 90s and 80s and 70s, and they like put like they'll do an edit and like they'll talk about it and they'll make it palatable for you to watch, but it'd be like something, say like Dancing Grannies.
Oh, okay.
So it's like that, it's like an hour of Dancing Grannies. They'll cut it down to like 50 seconds and like, look, here's some funny parts.
Yeah, where do you find all these at?
So this actually, this came up because I was watching Eric and Daryl.
Oh, okay.
Remember we talked about them? And I guess Eric and Daryl, they were on one of their shows.
Oh, okay.
So it just, in my YouTube algorithm popped up, you might like these guys. And so the first show I watched was a show called Willie's Garage, which is Nick and George.
Okay.
They're going back and watching all these Alf episodes.
Oh, okay.
So Nick is like a huge Alf fan, and George has never seen an episode of Alf, but of course he knows who Alf is.
Oh, okay.
And so they talk about, every episode's the newest Alf episode. They start from part 1, they're going on. But it's really cool. Another show they have is called Saturday Morning Cartoons.
Okay.
I just shared that. They were actually on at 10 this morning, but what they normally do is every Saturday now they'll watch an old cartoon. It might be shitty, it might be good. And then they'll have commercials that have like themed around it.
Okay.
So they'll like have a guest on, they'll talk about what they're going to watch. Then they'll show some commercials, and they'll show half the show, do some more commercials in the other half of the cartoon. So the cartoons are like 20 minutes, but they split it up. It's really, really entertaining. So
that's great.
I'd highly recommend them. Found Footage Festival, or you can search VCR Party Live and you'll find them. But yeah, so the main guys like Nick, Joe, George, and Steve, they kind of do the whole thing. Okay. But I think you'd like them, and most people. Well, I think let's watch a clip. I'm gonna pull up a clip that they took of like probably something that was like an hour-long training video. And they've cut it down to about a minute. So let's watch this, and we'll come back and tell me what you think. Okay.
Hi, my name is Catherine Lord, and I want to welcome you to the wonderful world of puppies. In this video, we're going to help you understand what's involved in having a litter. By now, you should know your bitch is pregnant. Sometimes a bitch will come earlier, sometimes a few days later. Milk Aid helps aid the bitch. Watch your bitch. What is normal for your bitch? The delivery has begun. The bitch is into heavy labor. Comforting the bitch, you want to reassure your bitch if your bitch lets out a scream. We only usually allow the bitches to eat 1 or 2 of the afterbirths. Breeders always say, call your vet when the bitch has had contractions for a long time.
The bitch should be examined to make sure that all the nipples are okay. If a bitch vomits, the bitch may be in difficulty. Small bitch. Bitches. Every bitch should be checked for brucellosis.
Why is it important that a bitch not be overweight?
Overweight bitches, an overweight bitch, fat bitch, a bitch, and you should exercise the bitch.
Approximately how long can a bitch go?
A lot depends on the bitch.
The bitch.
The bitch, that bitch, the bitch is just very, very nervous. Milk the bitch, calm the bitch down, and try to milk the bitch like a cow.
Oh my God. Calm the bitch down.
That was one of my favorites.
That fat bitch.
So they'll take all kinds of different
So they're
stuff.
just edited and making it do that. That's just crazy.
But they'll have live shows where they're all on Zoom and they've already got all this kind of stuff keyed up for the show.
No, yeah.
One of the guys, I think, one of the guys worked for Letterman.
Okay.
And then I think Mystery Science Theater was an intern, and all these guys have done like stuff.
How many videos do they have?
Oh, they have a ton of videos.
They've been doing it for a while, huh?
They've been doing it, I think, since around 2014.
Mm-hmm.
But I think their main show has like, if I had to guess, around 150 to 200 episodes.
Good Lord.
And those are like hour-long episodes. Like it's kind of like what we do here.
Okay.
But it's all live. They have everything keyed up. And it's cool because, so you know how like we have these huge VHS collections? They have huge VHS collection too. They have 11,000 VHS, but they're all like these weird, like I said.
Just weird stuff.
Yeah. Highly recommend these guys, Found Footage Festival. Check them out.
And we're talking about VHS. I've been watching this guy for a while. It's KandJHorror.com. He has got the greatest horror VHS collection I've ever seen. He doesn't do them that often. Sometimes he'll do 3 or 4 or 5 within a week or two, and then he'll take 6-7 months off. It's weird. But he was on the documentary about the VHS collecting here a few years ago.
Oh.
Adjust Your Tracking was the name of that one.
Gotcha.
They actually had him on there. He always he's got like 3 rooms in his house. It looks like he lives like in a trailer or a double wide or something by the floor and stuff, because he don't really show his face. He just shows him going into the room, showing the VHS. He is real big on collecting like different variants and covers and just everything. I mean, he might have 20 copies of Scream with so many different covers.
Yeah.
And not just, but he collects DVDs too. He has had a few videos where he's been doing DVDs here recently. But you know, he's got a good follower, and he's always got a lot of views on his videos. And like I said, but sometimes he'll take off for a long time.
Yeah.
And then it's not like a regular update you would know, like I would do or you would do, or something saying, you know, I've just bought this. But he will say this is new to the collection, and he goes and picks them out. And I think he spent quite a bit of money on some of the stuff, because there's some things that he'll come across. I'll look on eBay or somewhere else and try to find it, and I can't find it on the internet nowhere.
Yeah, I see. Like we're actually on this channel right now. There's something called Killer Racks Eat France.
Yeah,
I've never heard of
he
that.
always
it's
talks.
Like a, it's like it's a compilation.
He talks about. He calls like your DVDs and Blu-rays over here. He calls them the racks. Is what he's calling them.
Oh, okay.
So he's got a lot of them. He calls them the racks, and he goes, "Let's go to the racks and see what's new and stuff." A lot of his displays and stuff that he's got in there, shelves and stuff he's got, you could tell looks like they're from an old video store.
Oh, nice.
So he's got 2 whole bedrooms, this wall to wall all the way around. He's got islands and stuff.
Yeah.
I don't know how many movies he's got total, but he is and then there's some videos there once in a while, as you can see right there. He goes on locations. I know what you did last summer, and he goes on some of them locations that's near him. But I think he's based down in North Carolina, because he's talked about that a few times.
That's cool.
But and then just like regular ones, he's got Friday 13th ones, and he's got some that's not that rare or whatever. But he's got some that's just really out there, like the Midnight Videos, the Elvira box, the big boxes.
Oh yeah.
It's just cool to watch it and use it as a reference to try to find some of it or write it down. And if you do come across it, to get it and check it out if you are a VHS collector. But he's been on there for a few years.
Yeah, I'm looking at just some of his thumbnails and a couple of these movies I've never even heard of.
Yeah.
So that's always a good.
And he's not real big and fancy. There's people that I've seen comments saying you should use music, you should make thumbnails. He's like, look, this is what it is. I just show my movies off. He's not caring about subs. I mean, he likes to interact, and he will thank you for good comments and stuff. But he's just showing his collection off. That's all he wants to do. He's not trying to be all fancy or nothing. And he gets real excited over some of it. And some of them, like I said, I've never seen before in my life. And I'll look it up and can't find it. And I'm like, where the hell does he get this stuff? But he's a good one to check out. So check out kandjhorror.com if you've never heard of him. The K and the J, he actually had a website at one time, I believe, too. And then he doesn't have no more, but he just never changed his YouTube name on here.
Okay.
So. But his name is J. I don't know where the K come in there. But he did a video one time that had his daughter in it. And she was starting to collect and stuff, too. And they did a video like their top 20 of 2020 or something like that of hard to get, VHS horror films. So
awesome.
But yeah, check him out. He's real cool. And like I said, don't unsub him. Sometimes he might take 4 or 5 months off, and I guess that's when he is buying his new movies or whatever he's doing.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden he'll come back and he'll have an hour video and he'll show off 20 or 30 tapes that he's bought. So the last thing you watched here, we're going to start putting this in there because and it could be a month ago, and it could have been last night, like me. Last night I watched Wolfman's Got Nards documentary.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I got it.
Wait, what's that on? Oh, you got it.
Yeah, I got it. It's actually, I think it's on Prime Video.
Okay.
You got Prime.
I do.
You can watch it. But you know me, I wanted the Blu-ray, so I ordered it off Amazon and watched it. And it's about the Monster Squad, of course. The following and everything from Fred Decker's. Great movie. Really wasn't the greatest in the 80s when it came out. Didn't do so good because it came out 2 weeks after Lost Boys.
Really?
And Lost Boys was the big hype at the time. And it kind of goes through all the other characters and stuff through there. It's a great documentary. It goes in depth, going to fans' houses and filming their collection of stuff that they've got from posters and other stuff, Monster Squad related. And it just goes into depth of what these guys are doing now. And they do like a convention thing every year now that started back in 2006.
Cool.
So that's really cool. And they're doing it every single year. Most of them are down in Texas, I believe. But, I've been wanting to see it it came out a few months ago, I believe. But I think you can get it on Prime Video.
Did they go into something like the marketing? Wasn't the marketing screwed up? Like they did something weird with the posters?
It had a few other things, yeah. And they... like I said, it just really didn't find the following until almost 20 years later.
Yeah.
So at one time, Fred Decker says it was basically the curse to his directing career, he thought, and then 20 years later, it brings it back up, and they at that time, it wasn't even released on DVD. They had to send in a lot of letters and stuff to people trying to get this thing released, and it's just got a big cult following now, is basically. But it's a cool documentary.
Yeah, I remember. I didn't actually watch that growing up. I think Jason let me borrow a VHS. I can't remember where I saw it first, but I remember watching it, loving it, and then finally, because I think I found a copy. It was hard to find a copy of VHS, and then it was early 2000s, I guess. The DVD came out finally. Yeah, one of them, and now they've released a bunch of different.
I think
ones,
it was 2007 or whatever.
But it was a hard to find movie for a long time.
Yeah, I got it on DVD, but it has been released on Blu-ray now since this has came out. I don't know if there's a lot of extras or stuff on it, but I always considered it the Goonies with the Universal Monsters, almost kind of like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's weird to know at the time. It just it didn't get a whole lot of love back then, and then they found out years later that these people was following it, and now they got screening shows, and it shows these guys that actually found a reel of it from like a theater, and they said it was one of the few that still exist, and they they show it on the big screen and everything for everybody, but they have Q&As and everything. So it's a really cool documentary to get.
I'll have to check that out. I guess the last thing I watched was, besides my Bloody Valentine, I watched half of that last night. And Saturday morning cartoons this morning, I watched a little bit. I finished the Chilling Adventures of Sabrina with the wife.
Okay.
Because that was like, 4 or 5 seasons. It was really good. It ends on a kind of a cliffhanger, but I really enjoyed that.
Yeah.
And then what else have I seen?
I just finished Ozark. It's not horror related or anything, but I finally finished 3 seasons of that too.
What do you think of it?
Oh, I love it. I can't wait.
It's good. I've watched the first 2 seasons, I think.
Oh, come on, man. You got to watch them all. How do you
not? It's like Breaking Bad, man. Like, you took me forever. Like, I watched the first episode of Breaking Bad, and I was stressed out. I was like, I don't know if I can take this.
Oh, the guy.
It's like, everybody's in danger the whole time, and I'm like, oh, my God.
I was hooked. A guy I work with was telling me about it, and then I flick it on Netflix, and Jason Bateman. I'm like, oh, hell yeah. I didn't know it had Jason Bateman in it. And probably, I don't know, 3 seasons is 30 episodes. I think about 3 weeks we watched them all because where I worked during the day, and we'd only watch like 2 at night because they're about an hour apiece. So we went through them, and on the weekends we watched a little extra more. But my woman's loving it, and I'm loving it, and I can't wait till another season. They said should be out sometime this year.
Oh, cool.
So, but that was something else I have watched recently. And right now, I'm currently watching all the Star Wars films because my lady has still yet to see the Star Wars films. So
where you at?
We watched the first 3 so far, the prequels. And I wanted her to watch them from the beginning, the way it should be, all the way to the end, I think. So I just got a cool new box set. It's called the Star Wars Saga box set. And it's really thin. It's not real thick. It takes up less room in your collection. You know, they've had like the prequels have box sets.
Yeah.
And then the older ones have box sets. And then now the new ones, once they finally come out, they just put them all together. And you just flip through them. And there are little sleeves inside there, you know. So it takes up a lot less room on the shelf. And I always had them on VHS. And I only had a few of the ones on DVD, so finally I chucked the DVDs a few months back, traded them to Jason for some stuff because I knew I wanted this box set. So it was like $60, but I mean it's got 9 movies on it.
Yeah.
And so we're going through watching them too. So that's something I recently watched.
What does she think about the first 3? Is there a favorite? One she hated?
She's liking the story so far.
Okay.
She said really likes storyline. She was. It's funny because when you watch the
Phantom Menace,
the old ones growing up, you know about Darth Vader already. You know it's Anakin Skywalker, so you know where it's going. She had no clue for a while until we got to the 3rd one, and she could see they're trying to turn him bad, and she goes, "Oh, I finally figured he's going to be Darth Vader."
Oh, that's cool.
So I'm like, "Yeah, well, just watch." You know, she's always, "What's happened to him? Or is he going to?" I said, "Just watch the movie," and it's comical to see somebody in 2020 that's never seen a Star Wars film. So that's
21 now, 2021.
Well, I keep forgetting it's 2021 now.
But yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah, so we've been watching them. So tonight we will watch A New Hope.
Oh,
so
she's in for a treat, I think.
Yeah, and I told her and explained how they in the 90s they did the special editions, and they kind of try to add some stuff to it to make it blend in, I guess, with the prequels.
Yeah,
and I always liked the prequels. A lot of people, shit on the prequels, but I always liked it because I like to see how they evolved and how they came to who they are, and everything. So
yeah, I'd like to do that myself. I remember the Phantom Menace being underwhelming, but I really liked part 2 was that Attack of the Clones, I believe. I really liked it. I remember having a poster because that's when Yoda goes crazy with the lightsaber.
Everybody wants to see Yoda kick ass.
I know it's CGI, but you know what? I still had fun with it. And I thought part 3, I remember it being pretty good.
Yeah, it's really good and dark. And it's sad at times because all the Jedis get killed off except for Yoda and Obi-Wan, but that's just the way it's got to be. And Darth Vader. When that first came out, I was waiting for him to put the costume on. And you don't get to see but about 2, maybe 3 minutes of it, but you know where it's going after that.
He doesn't put I can't remember. He puts the costume on at the very end, though, right?
Yeah, it's near the end. Yeah,
because he gets burned up on the planet or whatever.
And the first breath, They said the mask go on, and then the lid goes down, and then he breathes for the first time. And I told her, I was like, she gets a kick out of me loving movies so much. But I said, when I saw it in the theater, when his first breath, I got goosebumps from that. I was like, because when you grew up with that stuff, and you're like, now it's Darth Vader again. So he was one of my favorite villains of all time. So
that's cool. Yeah, I'm wondering, like, after she watches all of them, what's going to be her favorite?
For me?
Well, what's your favorite?
Oh, well, I always liked Empire Strikes Back. There's a lot of people that love that one. But I like, now this is something funny. I've seen Return of the Jedi in the theaters when I was a kid. I was too young to see the other two. I saw all the prequels, and I saw all the newer ones, except the last one is Rise of the Skywalker.
I still haven't seen that one.
And I still haven't seen it.
Oh, okay, cool.
So we're watching all these that she hasn't seen. And time we get to that one, that's going to be my first viewing with her first viewing there, too. So I hear a lot of people talk crap about it, but I don't know. I seem to like The Last Jedi and all the other ones so far. So
The Last Jedi, for me, I thought half of it felt like a Star Wars movie and half of it didn't. So I was like,
well, Force Awakens was nice because
I liked it.
Yeah, you get to see Chewbacca, and you get to see Han Solo come back, Princess Leia, and then you got new characters and stuff, and then you got to get used to them for a little while, I guess, and then evolves into The Last Jedi, and then you get to see Yoda come back. It's in a certain way, his spirit or whatever. So I saw that coming when I saw that at the theater, but I just didn't get around to seeing the last one. So it's going to be cool. I got the whole box set now, and I can watch them and finally get to see that one too. So
it was awesome. So yeah, I'm kind of interested in seeing what she'll think. Like, what's her favorite?
Yeah. So far, she said that she's like the Revenge of the Sith, which is the third one, of course.
I can see that.
She liked that one.
It was, I guess, more action-packed.
Yeah. It and the second one, it just had to get the story going. Yeah. I always say the first one, the main things is seeing Darth Maul in the battle scene.
Yeah.
And the pod racing. I love the pod racing in that one.
And I know you're a big Jar Jar fan.
Yeah. I have heard of people that really like Jar Jar, but she got a kick out of Jar Jar.
I think I'm turning the corner on Jar Jar.
Yeah. So the second one he was in not as much, and then the third one he's only in like 2 scenes. So she's like, "There's no Jar Jar." I was like, "Yeah," because people was throwing a fit about Jar Jar.
Yeah,
and they didn't want to see a whole lot of comedy in Jar Jar. Just like the Ewoks, but the Ewoks never bothered me. So
no, they never bothered me.
I saw the Return of the Jedi in the theaters, and I just thought it was great.
I think it's just because he talks like a kid, and it's just like so annoying. He's just annoying. Misa.
You had to have some comedy. You got to have some comedy in it a little bit. So yeah.
I guess I don't know. Maybe he was so prominent, but I just remember like he was just so annoying. But, but I thought I think in the comics or something, they turned him he's a bad guy.
Oh yeah.
I could be wrong, but I thought that they did something where he's actually like undercover Jedi or undercover, not Jedi. He's like I don't know. He's working for.
I don't never read none of the
Vader
comics,
or something.
I don't know.
I can't remember. But I haven't either. It was just something that I thought that somebody posted.
But that's the last things that I've watched. I was just going to talk about Wolfman's Got Nards. That I watched that after we watched episode 3. She went to bed. When she found out the title of that, I said, Wolfman's Got Nards. She's like, I'm going to bed. I'm like, I said, but you haven't seen Monster Squad. She goes, no, I haven't. I said, well, that's another one you got to watch. And then you can watch the documentary, because I'm sure I'll watch it over and over and over. I love documentaries, so especially when they got to do with films and stuff from the 80s and stuff. So.
All right, guys, I hope you enjoyed our Valentine's Day Spectacular.
Yeah, and we had a little bit of everything else involved in it.
Yeah.
Local bullshit and all that stuff.
We did have some local bullshit. So we just wanted to let you guys know that you should go watch Movie John's YouTube channel.
Yeah.
We got to get him monetized. I bet you're at least halfway there.
I might be.
You should just do a live video.
Yeah, I need to do
like an hour, but then just like put your phone somewhere and just go to sleep.
There you go.
And then people will be watching like, what the hell's going on? And then like just move it, like put it in front of like some movies, and then like get up, go to the bathroom.
Or just sit there and eat a
else.
sandwich or something.
There you go. Just do the Macaulay Culkin, the thing with you. Andy Warhol, where you just eat a pizza.
Yeah.
Really weirdly, like just eat a pizza for like 45 minutes. Just one slice.
Oh, Lord.
But yeah, go to Movie John. If you search it all one word, Movie John, he'll come up, subscribe, watch his videos. YouTube, I am Scott's Slasher World. Yeah, you may be on the channel now. You may be listening to iTunes or something. So definitely go to YouTube and check that out. You can also check out Movie John on Instagram.
Yeah, Movie John _.
I am also on Instagram. I think I'm Scotty Slasher. I don't remember.
Yeah, I think you're. Of course, the Facebook page, Tearing the Owls.
Yes, Tearing the Owls Facebook. Go like that, and we post stuff all the time, especially John.
Yeah, especially me, because I'll just see something cool, and I'm like, oh, let me share that real quick. The day Kong, a few days before Kong came out, the Godzilla and Kong, there was a bunch of different things. I share about 4 or 5 things. I'm like, oh, this is just the Godzilla Kong channel now.
There you go.
But I said I got to put some other things on it. So in Tearing Owls, we usually talk about just horror. We don't really talk about just horror movies here, especially on this show. We end up with Star Wars.
Toys.
And, we didn't get to talk about no toys.
I
didn't really come up with nothing with toys this time, but maybe next time.
All right, everyone. I hope you had a great time with us, and we just want to encourage you to stay out of any local bullshit.
Yeah, and calm the bitch down.
It's strange, isn't it? In real life, nobody likes to think about violence, pain, blood, and death. But project these experiences on a screen, and people form lines in the street. That's because a terror film is a lot like a roller coaster ride. Only you're sitting in a theater, which is relatively safe.